Morning, online students. This is Thursday, August 24th. Okay, so thank you for getting everything ordered. I appreciate that. And it looks like we're in good shape to use pads and sticks that we have here for now. And I'll pass out more sticks to you in just a second, because I know most of us have any. Okay, I want to review real quickly what did we talk about in terms of grip last time. Someone gave me the first thing I need to know. Grady.
You put your thumb kind of like by the below lettering of the first thing.
Yep.
Put it there.
That's the weirdest way I've heard that described.
Dude,
Visualize the stick.
Okay.
Stick there. Thumb.
Good.
On the little flag.
Can someone be a little more specific? Let's pretend actually there's no flag. How would you describe that? Because although it is a useful trick.
Quarter of the way up the stick.
Okay.
I'd say the lower third.
It's like in between a third and a quarter, depending on your hand size.
Yeah. Usually people say 4 to 5. But yes. Okay. Good. So we want our thumb this position. You're valid.
I know.
Okay. We want it parallel with the stick, right? It's important. We don't want it perpendicular. That's a problem. What do we want to do with our index finger? Wrapped around. We don't want it to be pointy, right? This is going to come up a lot with beginning students. They want to point their finger for various reasons. Please don't let them do that. It's going to be a problem for control. Okay, we also, this comes up less often, but right, we don't want some sort of weird, this sort of thing with the index finger below the thumb. Most people don't do that because it just doesn't feel very good. It's very unnatural for your hand, but make sure they're parallel. Okay, other fingers wrap around loosely, right? What is this connecting point called?
The fulcrum.
Fulcrum. Good. Further down the line with like, oh, my laptop just went to sleep, so hopefully it's still recording. Okay. All right. Hope that's recording the whole time. Further down the line, at like sort of the advanced percussion level, people start talking about the middle finger being part of the fulcrum. For our purposes, we don't really need to worry about that. But like, so when I was halfway through a performance degree in college, I started thinking about my middle finger equally, or even more so part of the fulcrum than my index finger, but it's sort of like an advanced thing that's not super relevant. Okay, muscle groups to move the stick. What do we have? Fingers, wrists, arm. Right, small muscle group, medium muscle group, large muscle group. Well, what do we want to use for the most part for our purposes? Wrists. Okay, obviously on some level your arm is going to be involved, right? And there's going to be other situations where you do want your whole arm, but for the most part we really want to use a lot of the wrist technique. Okay, let's hop up, get a pad situated. I'm going to pass out some sticks. If you already have some, I know a few of you have some.
We can share.
Combined.
If you only stand over.
Who loves green?
I love green.
Dang it.
Put it there, ombre.
Let's go Packers.
We're gonna get all the praise.
Out of all the places you can go, just get directly.
We're
Just,
getting
okay, that I can. That. Yes.
Alexis.
I don't like the ring. Something about them. Like, I don't know. That's not. Yeah, exactly.
Good. can we just confirm that even though my laptop is asleep, it's still taking?
Yes, if
Right.
that green
Because
light is on,
okay.
you're recording.
Okay, thank you, online students. I got stressed. That's probably better for the battery too, which is good. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some handouts in a second. We'll work through some of them, but for right now, I want to make sure we get the height about correct. Right. So how do we figure out the height?
Waist.
The waist is a good guideline. Yes. So the waist is a good, just like quick and easy way to describe it. But then we want to think about where our arms are actually going to lay comfortably when we put them up, and we might have to adjust a little bit because everybody's bodies are proportioned a little differently. Yeah. So good. Good. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Great. Put the sticks down by your side. And then keep it relaxed. Relax your shoulders. You don't. Right. It's hard to stay relaxed. Every time I play, I'm still like, you gotta freaking relax more. Okay, and then just put the arms up. Should feel pretty comfy. Okay, looking good. This is mostly, we haven't even talked about this, but for the most part, we're actually just naturally doing what I want us to do. My palm is flat, essentially, right? So the thumbs are facing inwards toward each other. They're not facing up to the ceiling, okay? So for the most part, we're pretty much doing that. Terry, if you can just adjust yours a little more. Yeah. I do know, like, doing this a bunch of times, like some people's natural wrist position is just a little bit more turned than others. So I try to be sensitive to that. But we don't want this, okay? When we get to timpani, we can talk about this, but for snare drum and for mouth playing, we really want our palms flat. Some people are very, very strict and dogmatic about this as percussion teachers. Like the old school thing is you put like a quarter on the student's palm, and make them, and that's like a little bit excessive. But that's just as a contextual, anecdote. That is a thing that people used to do as like a way to make sure we're doing this correctly. So keep the palm nice and flat. Okay. I'm going to count us off. We're all going to do one stroke with just our right hand. A lot of pressure. 1, 2, ready, go. Nice.
Now I can join the drum.
Okay. You're a percussionist. Again. 1, 2, ready, go. And if you're online, if this is if this is obvious, please be doing this same exercise with us. Thank you. Now what I want to see is just, I promise we'll use our left hand eventually, but I want to hear 4 right hand strokes in a row. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. I'm gonna divide the room in half from Eli over. That's basically equal. Okay, you 5, 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. And then you folks, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. One more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. So this is perfect, but you're starting to let these fingers come off. See if you can keep them on.
I got a quarter in my pocket, actually.
No, that's me. 1, 2, again, go.
Yeah. If I correct you individually right now, it's not you. I mean, it is you, but we're here to learn. So please, I understand. Let's do it. Everybody, do it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. I'm just gonna fix a couple. Let's keep it going on a loop. Please try not to speed up too much. I have a feeling in 30 seconds it's gonna be there. So keep it steady. You're music educated. You should have a steady beat. 1, go. Good. And make sure you're using the wrist and not, careful not to let it go far. Okay, great. Not bad. Really not bad. Yeah. I've seen much worse classes. You guys are doing great. What?
El natural.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we're going to talk about kind of two concepts related to basic drumming that we need to start thinking about almost immediately. One is stickings. Okay, so stickings is a fancy word for which hand you're using to play. So right now the sticking we're using is all right hand. And we'll talk about some of the principles behind what sticking to use when. But as a general rule, in a lot of percussion playing, specifically if we're dealing with like a drum and it's one surface, we're doing a lot of what we call alternate stickings. Which, what does that mean? It means we're going between right and left hand consistently. Okay, that seems kind of maybe obvious, but I think once we start to look at some musical examples, start to make sense when you need to think about stickings and what's going to make sense in what context. It's also important because we have to practice different sticking combinations as percussionists to build up the basic skills we need to do things. So one of the first exercises in this book, and I'm going to pass it out in a second, is just different sticking combinations that are not even really attached to a rhythmic. It's basically just quarter notes, but he doesn't even write out the rhythms because it's literally just like move the right hand this many times, move the left hand this many times. Okay, so stickings. We'll dive way more into that as we go. But have that concept in your head. The other thing we need to talk about is stroke type. Okay, so stroke type is a fancy word for talking about what the stick does to start and stop, or more accurate ways, where does it start and stop? So I like this book in general, and I know you don't have it yet, but one thing I don't like is I disagree with his explanation of stroke types. So we're going to skip that part. Kenan Wiley. And I'm going to go through this really quickly. I promise we'll talk about it in more detail and review. But essentially there's 4 stroke types, in my opinion. People categorize things a little differently, but I think this is actually the easiest way to do it. Essentially what we're doing right now for the most part, and everyone's kind of naturally doing this, is what people call a rebound stroke, or they might call it a full stroke, right? A couple different names, but it's essentially, you're starting with the stick up, and it ends where it started, right? So it's kind of at a full height, and it could start there and end there, or it could start here and end there, but it's a full stroke. We start at the top, we go down, and ideally it's bouncing really nicely off the pad or off the drum, and it comes back to our hand. A potentially helpful reference point is if you can dribble a basketball even just a little bit, it's the exact same idea and mechanism for a full rebound stroke, right? So pretend the ball is like you don't need gravity to hold there for a second, but as soon as you start going, right, the ball is going down, it's bouncing, it's coming back. Really all you're doing is that wrist motion to make the ball move and then to keep it going, right? I don't know if we're a bunch of ballers here, but I imagine we've all at least dribbled the basketball, right? And even if you're not good at it, probably still understand wrist moves, it bounces, it comes back. We don't move the ball all the way to the ground and bring it back up, right? And we also don't move the ball to the ground and leave it there, right? That's not good dribbling. We know this. Okay, so rebound stroke. Again, we'll review all these and it'll all be written down so you'll have it codified more concretely, but for now we're just gonna talk about the four types quickly. Rebound stroke. Everything after that is just a different combination of basically not letting the stick go all the way up or not starting with the stick all the way up. Okay, so we have a rebound stroke, starts up, ends up. We also have a downstroke. Okay, that's when we start in the same position, but the stick is going to end basically right above the pad of the drum. Okay, so it's starting here, it's ending right there. Yeah, you can try it. Yep. And the tricky thing with this, is keeping that same idea. I'm now directly contradicting the basketball bouncing analogy. It really only works for a full rebound stroke. But the trick here is we're still using that same initial movement, but then we do want to catch it here, but we don't want it to, be dead on the drum. We don't want it to stop moving. We just want to catch it really low above the drum. If you're like, oh, this is hard. It is hard. That's why people spend years practicing the instrument. What is this called? Sam? Okay, I don't know. I'm trying to call on one person.
We are Sam.
We are Sam. Downstroke. Okay, if we have a downstroke, what's the next logical? Upstroke. Cool, that means a thing for entity. It means like, it's kind of lame, right? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
I know what's up. I don't know what's up. Okay.
He doesn't
That
either.
might be the next generation down.
What?
That might be the next generation down.
Okay. Upstroke, right? This is gonna seem really weird out of context, because like, why would you ever do this? It's starting with the stick very close to the drum, and it's going back. Okay. It seems completely impractical, but there's a few reasons as we start to get into rudiments, it becomes clear why we need this in our little tool bag. Okay. If you don't know what rudiments are, that's fine. We're getting to that next week. But it is start really close to the drum and pull up. So the tricky thing about this is that your wrist is doing all the work, right? There's no rebound that's allowing the stick to go all the way back up. When we do a full rebound stroke, really the pad of the drum is doing like a ton of the work because you have gravity and you have rebound and it just bounces back up. It should be very easy. It's probably not right now because you're beginning, but as you develop your skills, it becomes a very easy thing to do. The upstroke is always funky because you're really making your wrist do extra work. Okay. And this is one of the reasons actually that's important to use our wrist, because this is a very hard stroke to do with fingers, and it's a very inefficient stroke to do with our arm. Okay. So we have rebound stroke, we have downstroke, upstroke. So basically we have start up, end up, we have start up and down, we have start down and up, and so what's the logical fourth? Yes, start down and down.
Good job.
Okay?
I like this one.
This one's called the tap. Okay? So we want the stick to just be very close to the drum. We drop it and it comes right back to where it started.
This is a tiny rebound.
It's what?
This is a tiny rebound stroke.
Yeah, it's tricky because it is kind of a tiny rebound stroke, but it also, I think, just requires a different application of the muscles to do it successfully. So, even if you're really good at getting a rebound stroke, I hope I'm at least pretty good at that by now, you can't really get a full rebound here because there's just not enough gravity and bounce. need to get a drink of water from my bag real quick. Try some of the stroke type stuff. Okay, I'm going to pass these out.
Here's some of this then.
Here's some passing you could use the music stand if you want to just try to kind of fit it on the stand you already have. That might be fine. Just whatever's easiest, honestly.
We could share with you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
Okay, from my online folks, we're on pages 6 and 7 of the Ken Wiley, and if you don't have your book while we're watching this, I will put. Well, we're really sorry, just on page 6. I'll put a copy of this page up on the blackboard later today. Oh, thank you so much. It should look like this combination of stickings RRR LLL.
It's gonna flip it, so everything will be up backward.
Oh no! Oh. Okay, so treat each R and L basically as a quarter note, right? So let's do line number 1, right? So essentially we have 8 rights in a row, 8 lefts in a row. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Okay, think about it being a full rebound stroke, so we want it to bounce, come back up. Do it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. Sometimes this exercise gets called 8 on a hand. I'll let you do the math on that. Let's do number 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Repeat it. Ready, go. Repeat again. Right, 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 left, left, left. Good. Okay. Number 3. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, left, right, left. Okay. Good. When we get to no, okay, number 4, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, left, right, 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 left. Repeat it. And right, left, right, right. Again, right, left, right, left, right. Good. Okay, when we get to number 5, we have what kind of sticking?
Alternate sticking.
Alternating stickings. Yes. So just right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, sorry. One more time. number 6. Okay, I used a word a couple minutes ago that I'm sure some of you know, but maybe not everybody. The word is rudiments. Okay, who's heard this word before? It's a drummery word. Oh, almost everybody. Okay, cool. What is a rudiment?
Like a basic technique that you build off of.
Yep.
So there are sets of patterns for
Yep.
snare drum.
Yep. I'm asking because I actually don't know. No. Okay, I think I know what a rudiment is. Yes. As Elizabeth said, it's a set of patterns, and it usually is related directly to stickings. Okay, so very specific stickings, as well as I guess I would use the word ornaments, which is a fancy way for saying grace notes, essentially, if you're not familiar with using that word to mean grace notes. That means something a little bit different in the realm of percussion versus maybe flute or string instrument. Rudiments are essentially these patterns we put together. They're originally derived from like a marching rudimental snare drum tradition, and they still exist primarily in that world, but they really are building blocks for beginning percussionists to work on like fundamental hand skills. So we still do them even if your goal is not to be like a rudimental snare drum player. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is when we get to number 6, we have this sticking pattern that's right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, and then the same thing. This is, it doesn't say this, but this particular sticking is a rudiment. What is the name of this rudiment? Paradiddle. Okay, and we'll get a handout with all the standard rudiments on it. Talk about what they mean. One thing that is fun about rudiments is that they have pretty cute names. They have names like paradiddle, pataflafla is a good one, radamaku. What's another good one? Anyone?
I love a flam tap.
A flam tap? Flam
That's
accent?
cute.
Flamacu?
Yeah, I love the flams.
There's paradiddle, there's double paradiddle, there's triple paradiddle, there's also
Diddle diddle.
paradiddle diddle.
It's like a nursery rhyme.
Yeah. So rudiments are fun, and we'll get into those a little bit, but I just wanted to say the word paradiddle and know that this is the sticking pattern. So let's do number 6 together, please. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Sorry, repeat. Repeat one more time. Right, Good. Okay. And if any of these are already like, it's fine. We're here to learn and to practice. Let's skip 7 and 8. We're fine. Right. I might have you do those for homework, and I might put the next page. I didn't photocopy this because it seemed kind of overkill for today's purposes. But I want you to work on some different sticking combinations. So that'll be part of your homework. Okay.
Can you scan it into Blackboards and speak them?
Yes, I will. I'll do that today, for sure. And I can even, I'll do the first page too, so that you don't have to pull if you want. Okay, any questions so far about stickings? Pretty straightforward, right? It gets more complicated as music gets more complicated. So another handout. Yep. This is page 12 from the book that I'm handing out now, and I'll put this on Blackboard later too. Just grab one of these, pass it down.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So I really do, as I've said, I really do like this book for the most part. The one thing that's a little bit funky, it's designed for the beginning percussionist, which is perfect for us. However, he really approaches that as if the student is not necessarily a music education major, but is actually a beginning percussionist. So there's some explanation of concepts that you guys obviously already understand. Like you can already read rhythms, you don't need to learn about how to read and read them. So there's a few weird things like that. Thank you. so let's take a look at where line number 1 is, like where the actual musical exercises start. Okay, so you can ignore the counting stuff, but rhythmically, obviously it's very simple, measure of quarter notes, measure of eighth notes. What stickings did you write under these notes? It's alternating the whole time. Yeah, and it's pretty common, it's certainly common in like a beginning band book, I don't know necessarily what books are used here, but every book I've seen everywhere, Elements of Music, right? Maybe that's an example of a beginning band book that people tend to use in a lot of places. They will have stickings underneath all of the parts, all of the exercises, all of the little ditties, right? So if it's a beginning flutist and they're playing, Mary Had a Little Lamb, right? The percussion part, or the drumming part, at least, is gonna have like a basic rhythm like this, and it's gonna have the stickings underneath. And I do think it's important. I know how hard it is to run a beginning band classroom, but I do think it's important to try to make sure the students are doing those stickings as part of the foundation. Just like I was not a music education major, so excuse me if I'm saying anything silly, but you need the flutist to play the right fingering, right? The clarinetist needs to play the right fingering, the trombonist needs to be in the right slide position. You need the progressions to be thinking about the stickings too. So it's all alternating stickings, and it's kind of interesting because he's doing it with quarter notes and eighth notes, and we'll talk about how stickings sometimes change based on what the rhythmic values of a particular piece are. So let's just play through number 1 all together. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Right, left. Good. This half. 1, 2, ready, go. Excellent. This half. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. Okay, one thing I want to make sure, just with the technique thing, again, we're doing a pretty good job with this. Okay, we want our elbows to really be directly at our sides, right? Nobody is doing this, but we don't want this sort of thing where our arms are stretched out in front of us, right? And then we also don't want this thing where we're so close to the drum that we have to have our elbows sort of back to play at the drum, right? We want our elbows to be essentially right next to our sides. The other thing is, we want to make sure our hands are at equal heights. Honestly, you guys are doing a good job of this on the whole, but just keep in mind we want our hands to be the same heights. Okay, it's really easy to have one hand be an inch or 2 higher, and even an inch is kind of going to be a problem. This is going to make it harder to be consistent. Right now, for this sort of very entry-level stuff, it's fine. But as the rhythms get even a little bit more challenging, it's going to very quickly sound very uneven if our hand heights are the same. So keep in mind those 2 things, where we're at in relation to the drum and where our elbows are at, forward and back, and then keeping the hands equal. Okay, everybody do number 1 again. 1, 2, ready, go. Good, don't rush at the end. Okay, number 2. So what do you see sticking wise that is different here?
We got a diddle there.
It's not completely alternating. So there's a few points in which it's not alternating, right? So the first one happens basically from measure 1 to measure 2. You'll see we go right, left, right, left, right, 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 left, ignore measure 3 for now.
From where the eighth notes fall?
Yes, so it has to do, exactly. It has to do with, it's fine. You're fired from this class. It has to do with the combination of quarter notes and eighth notes. So one thing that percussionists start to think about a lot is keeping, pretty much all stickings are designed with the idea that pretty much everybody's right-handed, which is, I know is kind of handism, but that's just what it is. So with that being said, people want to start with their right hand because it feels better to play a downbeat on your dominant hand, right? That's essentially what it is. So you're always going to see the downbeat be put on the right hand, unless there's like a very specific reason later on a different instrument that we wouldn't do that. We want to keep the alternating sticking thing going, but when we get eighth notes introduced to the mix, we want to have alternating stickings there. So it starts to immediately kind of make things a little more complicated, right? So we have right, left, right, left, right, right. We really need to play the eighth notes with alternating stickings, right? So that's why we have 3 and 4 is right, left, right. But it would be really weird to then play the downbeat on our left hand, because we want to keep that right hand on the beat and on the downbeat. So that's why there's 2 rights in a row there. And then really what he's doing is starting all of those eighth notes with a right hand. So even in measure 2, we have right, right, left, right, left. It's because he wants to start the eighth notes with the right hand as well. So this is a very typical way to stick something like this, is to keep the right hand on the downbeats and on the quarter notes as much as possible. And then if we have eighth notes, to be alternating on those with the right hand being on the beat, the left hand being on the hand of the off beat. Does that make sense? Okay. There's not one correct way to stick everything. There's different approaches. But like for example, if I just play this without reading what his stickings were, I guarantee I would play the exact same thing without thinking about it. So that's like years and years of playing and thinking about this, built up. But just so you know, it's not like totally random. Okay, can we do just the first 2 bars? We're gonna ignore bar 3 for right now. Just the first bar 3 and 4. Just measures 1 and 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Right, 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 left. Good. This half. 1, 2, ready, go. One more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. This half. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. If it's like, if you're not playing perfectly right now, that's fine, right? I hated, when I was a freshman and I was in class now, I was so stressed like having to do things in class that I hadn't practiced. So don't worry. But, sorry, I'm making you do it now, but I'm not worried about you if you're not doing it correctly the first time. Yeah. Which is what happened to me, and I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel like I was getting better at piano. Even though I was practicing, I was trying. But, yeah, I just want you to feel like it's okay to not do things perfectly, especially the first time on a brand new instrument. Okay. So measure 3. What is this thinking? Yeah. So he does 2 rights in a row. The only reason he did that is as a pedagogical thing for new students, to be like, let's work on doing 2 rights in a row. You would never actually play it that way. Okay. And that's why he underlined it. Like he's doing this on purpose to show you it's a weird sticking. So really, actually, let's get a pencil out. Please tell me you have pencils. got a pencil?
Let the man pencil.
We're good? Okay, so for measure 3, what I want you to do on that, the end of 3, right, where there's that second right hand in a row, I just want you to cross it out and put an L underneath it instead. Just a little L. Just a little one. As students go from beginning percussion, sort of to like, you know, second, third year band, they're not going to necessarily have stickings written in their parts, especially once you start playing actual literature. You know, even if it's that grade 1 or grade 2 literature, they're not necessarily going to have stickings written in their parts. And it's a good practice. They should be doing at least some writing in of their stickings. It's still something I do in parts when I need it. I don't need to do it for the whole piece ever, but if I'm playing something complicated, I almost always write in some kind of sticking still. And it's not just for snare drum, it applies for, actually maybe more so even for mallets, when we get to keyboard percussion. Sometimes for timpani, a little bit more straightforward. Well, it's not more straightforward, but there's just less. Anyway, we'll get, timpani is a little bit of a different beast. But then also if I'm playing some sort of like drum setup, let's say, right? I'm playing a solo piece or a chamber piece where I have bongos, 3 concert toms, a bass drum, and I'm playing 6 or 7 different drums. I will always write some stickings in to help me think about what hand needs to do what. So we're starting it now. It's like a very common practice to do throughout as a percussionist. Okay, so we switched measure 3 to just alternating, right, left, right, left, right, left. And you can then, change beat 4 from L should now be an R, right? Because it doesn't make sense to do 2 eighth notes in a row with the left hand. Does that make sense? Especially when we're landing on the 4th beat. Okay, and then in measure 4 of line 2, what is the sticking? Left, right, left, right. Why does it start on the left instead of right? Yes, because it's beat 2. Okay. So if we're basically imagining sort of that our right hand is playing on the downbeat, but it's a rest. So by beat 2 the left. Okay, can we just do measures 3 and 4, please? Measures 3 and 4. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. It's okay, do it again. Don't apologize. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. It's hard, right? Again, 2, ready, go. Rest. Good. Are we doing on time? So question, we don't got really.
You got 1 minute.
Oh, we have 1 minute. Okay.
2 minutes, actually.
2 minutes.
Minute and a half.
Fantastic. So I'll send out a Blackboard announcement hopefully in the next hour or so with just a little homework. It's more just for you to know what to practice. Shoot, you don't have sticks though. I do.
If anybody needs to like borrow stuff, we're pretty good about sharing.
Actually, everything I gave you is like I can't give it to you for the semester, but if everyone can be responsible and bring it back on Tuesday, you're welcome to keep these sticks for the weekend to practice. I don't think you can take the pads, but you can practice the stickings anyway. You can do it on your leg, you can do it on your pillow, whatever.
If anybody wants, I usually have an abstract on me.
What? They won't give me the master key.
How's my rebound?
I signed it out.
Great.
Kinda nice.
So, keep the sticks, please put the pads back. And I'll send out a few assignments, but it'll all be, I know you don't have the books, I'll put PDFs.
How
of
you
them.
do your real rock star?
Not gonna be anything extensive, but please spend a few minutes on this before next class.
Don't Tanner, you're making me extremely uncomfortable.
This is how you know you're a rock star. No, sorry. Only real rock stars are gonna understand.